For decades, the manual transmission was a defining feature of driving in America. It was cheaper, it was simpler, it gave drivers more control. And yet today, manual transmissions account for only a small fraction of new car sales in the United States. So what changed? This is a factual analysis of why manual transmissions are disappearing from the American market and whether they have any real future left. 1. A brief history of the manual transmission in the U.S. In the early and mid-20th century, manual gearboxes were standard. Automatic transmissions existed, but they were expensive and less reliable. In 1940, General Motors introduced the hydromatic automatic transmission, a major technological step. By the 1950s and 1960s, automatics became increasingly popular in American cars, especially in large sedans. However, manuals remained common in compact cars, economy vehicles, sports cars, and muscle cars. Driving a manual was normal, not niche. But America was already different from Europe and Japan. U.S. buyers valued convenience over mechanical involvement. 2. The cultural shift toward comfort. Post-war America embraced comfort and ease. Large cars, soft suspensions, automatic transmissions. By the 1980s and 1990s, automatics became smoother and more reliable. At the same time, traffic congestion increased in major cities. Commute times grew longer, stop-and-go driving became more common. For many drivers, a manual transmission became inconvenient. In contrast, European markets retained manuals longer due to fuel cost sensitivity, smaller vehicles, driving test standards. The U.S. market evolved differently. 3. The technology gap closed. One of the strongest historical advantages of manuals was performance. Manuals were faster, more efficient, mechanically simpler. That is no longer true. Modern automatic transmissions, including torque converter automatics and dual clutch systems, now shift faster than most human drivers. Companies like Ford Motor Company and General Motors developed advanced 8-speed and 10-speed automatics that improved both performance and fuel economy. Today, automatics often accelerate faster. Automatics optimize fuel consumption better. Automatics integrate seamlessly with modern driver assist systems. The performance advantage of manuals largely disappeared. 4. Fuel economy regulations. Corporate average fuel economy standards, known as CAFE, forced automakers to prioritize efficiency. Automatics became more programmable and adaptive. Software-controlled shifting allowed manufacturers to fine-tune fuel economy results during testing cycles. Manual transmissions, by contrast, depend on driver behavior. From a regulatory perspective, automatics offer more consistency. As fuel economy requirements tightened, manuals became less attractive from a compliance standpoint. 5. The advanced driver assistance systems rise. Modern vehicles include adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and traffic jam assist. These systems integrate far more easily with automatic transmissions. In heavy traffic automation scenarios, manual gear changes complicate system design. As the industry moves towards semi-autonomous driving, manual transmissions create additional engineering complexity. In a market increasingly focused on automation, manuals are out of alignment. 6. Manufacturing and cost efficiency. Offering a manual transmission requires separate engineering calibration, additional certification, unique parts inventory, dealer training. When manual take rates fall below 5%, the business case weakens. For example, sports cars like the Chevrolet Corvette eventually dropped manual options entirely in newer generations. Automakers concentrate resources on configurations that sell in volume. Low-demand variants are often discontinued. 7. The sports car exception. Manual transmissions survive mostly in enthusiast vehicles. Examples include the Ford Mustang, the Porsche 911, and the Toyota GR86. Even here, automatic versions frequently outsell manuals. Some manufacturers retain manuals as a brand statement rather than a profit center, but the volume remains limited. 8. Generational change. Driver education in the United States rarely includes manual transmission training. Fewer young drivers learn how to operate a clutch. As a result, demand decreases, familiarity declines, and resale markets shrink. This creates a feedback loop. Without exposure, the next generation is less likely to request manual options. 9. The electric vehicle transition. Electric vehicles do not require multi-speed transmissions. Companies like Tesla design single-speed drivetrains. As EV adoption increases, the role of traditional transmissions, manual or automatic, diminishes. Long-term, electrification further reduces the relevance of manual gearboxes. 10. Market data trends. In recent years, manual transmission take rates in the U.S. have fallen to extremely low levels, often below 2% of total new vehicle sales. Some brands report manual adoption in the low single digits, even for performance models. This is not a gradual decline, it is a structural shift. 11. Is there a future for manuals? Manual transmissions are unlikely to return to mainstream status in America. However, they may survive in limited production sports cars, enthusiast-focused trims, and specialty performance vehicles. Some automakers publicly acknowledge that manuals help maintain brand heritage, but from an economic and regulatory standpoint, they are no longer central to the market. Conclusion. Manual transmissions are not disappearing because they stopped working. They are disappearing because automatics became better, regulations favored programmable systems, consumer preferences shifted toward comfort, advanced driver assistance systems expanded, and EV adoption changed drivetrain architecture. In the American market, convenience and technology reshaped driving habits. The manual transmission remains important culturally, but economically and structurally, it has been outpaced.